Right then, carrying on from the setup, I should have pointed out that there is a time effect on the back of the card. Forced after the last time counter is removed from this stage, remove one time counter from each location in play. So the time ticker on this one just ticks down my time for everything else. So that means I'm going to put my time counters, like I did in the last quest, next to my threat, so I don't forget. I've got, and it's 10 progress to finish it, I've got the Dunland battlefield there, which technically has time counters on it, although the time effect for that quest is not too bad. The Raven War Camp, which also has time effects, and the time effects are not very good there. Those are placed outside out of play. Chieftain Church is coming with us, and we've got to fight a tribesman. So we had our starting hand. So we draw a card from the tribesman. Elven Spear. That is an awesome card to see first turn. And then we draw 4 more cards because Arrestor. An army of Ents and Lindir. Not really what we want to see when we are poor, but that's okay. So let's get this going. So we'll put Elven Spear onto Arrestor. For nothing, we will play Elrond's Council. For nothing, lowering our threat down to 26 and giving Arwen an extra quest. We will burn Will of the West to give a resource to Arrestor. Then we will spend a spirit resource to play the Gladrim Weaver, who shuffles Will of the West back into the deck. I would like to shuffle in Elrond's Council again, but ultimately my Will of the Wests need to, if I were to lose both of them, I'd have to use a Dwarven Tomb to bring it back, and I could even end up doing that. And if my deck taps out, I am pretty hosed. And the rate at which I can draw through this deck, obviously with drawing 4 cards a turn. I have made a slight adjustment. You may have noticed Lord of the Eldar is in my hand now. I've taken out Unexpected Courage, which I never thought I would do, but the deck doesn't really like Unexpected Courage. I can quest with Mablung and ready him for free with Wingfoot. I can quest with Arrestor and for free with Light of Valinor. So there isn't really like, I want to get a multi-use out of Unexpected Courage, and it's expensive at 2. And Lords of the Eldar is obviously more expensive at 3, but because it can only be played from the discard pile, I can play it at my leisure rather than Unexpected Courage, which has to be in my hand. And on like a key turn, like I've got about 12 Noldor characters in my deck, so that would be really effective. Right, then we're going to spend 2 Arrestor resources to play Quick Beam. I'm going to put a wound on him, so he's readied. And I'm going to give Arrestor a Rivendell Blade. So between an Elven Spear and a Rivendell Blade, he is ready to murder. Especially when I have all these cards in hand to burn to power up the blade. So, questing. Arrestor, we're going to hold you back because you can kill anything that comes out. The Gladrim Weaver is obviously going to quest. Arwen is going to quest. Mablung is going to quest. And Quick Beam is going to quest. Because we don't have to engage the Dunland Tribesmen this turn, but we could potentially. It's Raven Country, 3 threat, 6 progress, time 4. After the last time counter is removed from this location, each player raises his threat by the number of cards in his hand. Ha 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 ha. I mock your Raven Country. For no cards shall be had in hand. Though that is a horrible location with that threat. So, that's 3, 4, 5, 6 threat. That's 2, 5, 6 from Elrond's Council. So that's 3 progress onto the Dunland battlefield. I'm taking a risk by taking this attack on Chieftain Turk because it is 4 attack and I haven't had a healing card yet. But ultimately, I want to remove threat from the area. I want to generate resources for Mablung, and I have the cards in my hand to be able for Arrestor to just kill the Dunland Tribesmen for free. So Dunland Tribesmen attacking Chief Turk, no shadow, which means 2 wounds to Chief Turk. And then we hit back. We could kill it actually without discarding any cards because we've got Rivendell Blade. But off we go. I'm going to put Lindir on top of my discard pile so that he's got the greatest chance of coming out. I'm going to put Elven Light and Lord of Lords of the Eldar off to the side, just so that I can see them more clearly, but I know they're not on the top of my discard pile. So we kill the Dunland tribesman, who goes to the Raven deck discard pile. And we all ready. And threat goes up by 1. Time counter, time counter, time counter, time counter. Jeez Louise. Right then, and then we draw 4 cards. And we gain 3 resources. So we've got Skinbark, who we cannot play. Dwarven Tomb, which we do not want to play. Treebeard, who is amazing. And the Welling Hall Preserver, who we cannot play. So, given the only thing we can play is Treebeard, let's discard a card to give Arwin a restore a resource. Let's spend those 4 resources to play Treebeard, and then these can be kept for Elven Blade if we need to. So, questing, we're going to go Mablung, we're going to go Arwin, we're going to go we're going to go Gladrian Weaver, and we're going to go Quick Beam, and we'll keep back these 2 for defense. It is a Raven Skirmisher. When revealed, either remove 1 time counter from the active location or reveal an additional card. I'm going to remove an additional time counter, a time counter from the battlefield, because it's a cards in hand punishment, and we don't really have many cards in hand. So that's an easy choice. So that is 7. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8. So we do 1 progress to the Dunland battlefield. Interestingly, once the time counters are removed from these locations, you don't put any more onto them. Unlike like the quest or whatever else, where they power back up. Right, so let's engage the skirmisher. Turk will defend again. No threat. So that's 1 wound onto there, and then we kill the skirmisher. End of the round, threat goes up by 1, remove the time counter, time counter, time counter. Last time counter is removed from there. We do stuff based on number of cards in hand. We don't have any cards in hand, so we're okay. And that's that. Everyone readies. And Big Daddy Treebeard. I'm going to put the Gladrian Weaver up here because she's just always going to quest. And Big Daddy Treebeard comes into play now. It's a shame that we've already gone through quite a few of our Ents. But if nothing else, he can use these resources to ready himself. So, not the end of the world. Oh, we engaged an enemy, which means Mablung should have had an extra resource. So here we go. A Wood of the West, to the sea, Imradris Caregiver, and a Wandering Ent. So we kind of want the Caregiver out because we want to be able to heal up Turk. We want the Ent out as well because Ents are awesome. And really we want to play to the sea as well. So we're going to play to the sea. We're going to discard Will of the West to give a resource to a restore. We are going to spend 2 of a restore's resources to... Actually, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to discard a card to give a restore a resource. We're going to exhaust to the sea to discard Will of the West, lowering the Imradris Caregiver's cost to 1 in order to play him. And then we will use a Restore's resource and Treebeard's resource to play the Wandering Ent. Now, that might seem like the same effect, but if somehow we draw a card, we could use that card to spend for Arwin's ability to give a resource, but we won't be able to use to the sea later on. So this just gives us a bit more flexibility if we were to draw a card that would force us to draw a card. Yeah, there we go. What a sentence. So, questing, Mablung, Arwin, now Treebeard and a Restore are of similar strength, but Treebeard can defend much better. Caregiver, Weaver, Quick Beam. I feel like at least one of these needs to go questing. do you know what? I'm going to send a restore because if something came out that was horrific in order to defend, I wouldn't use Turk because I could lose the game. I wouldn't want to use a restore because obviously losing a hero is essentially losing the game. So Treebeard would have to take the hit. It is Raising the Cry. God, what art. When revealed, remove 1 time counter from each location in play. Place X time counters on each location in play with no time counter on it. X is the time X value of that location. Oof. So, removed 1 from there, removed 1 from there. Put 3 onto there. That's interesting, because that timing structure means I actually could be punished based on my cards in hand. So, Raven War Camp. After the last counter is removed from this stage, from this location, starting with the first player, we draw the top card of the Raven deck and put it into play engaged with them. So we are engaged with a Dunlanding Prowler. We don't have Surge because we don't have enough cards in hand. We engaged an enemy in that phase, so Mablung gets a resource. That's that. So threat is 5. We're questing with 2, 5, 7. So 5 is that and everything else is gravy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 progress. 1 progress goes onto there and finishes it off. And 5 progress goes on to the main quest. Now, given that the Raven War Camp has done its bad thing, let's go to Raven Country. Even though its bad thing isn't actually going to be that bad, I don't want that 3 threat sitting there. We've got to get rid of it. So, we fight the Dunling Prowler. Let's see, neither Treebeard nor Turk have the strength to kill him. Although if Turk defended, they hit back for 7, they would have the strength to kill him. Do you know what? Let's roll the dice. Let's keep our board nice and clear. Turk is going to defend against the Dunling Prowler. No threat. So that means that Turk isn't exhausted because of his ability. So Turk and the Treebeard combine for 7 to kill the Prowler. Which keeps our board state nice and clean. Everyone readies. We definitely need to burn some cards with the Caregiver to get the healing going on Turk, because that is starting to get rather horrible. Threat goes up by 1. Time counter removed. Time counter removed. We would raise our threat by the number of cards we have in hand. We don't have any. And the quest 1 is after the last time counter is removed from this stage, remove 1 time counter from each location in play. So that doesn't really do anything either. Whew, man, I tell you, this deck is well suited to this. So, 4 cards. Light of Valinor to the Sea is a complete waste of time because we already got it, which is good. Galadriel Weaver and a Mithlon Sea Watcher. Nice. So, let's put out those resources. And 1 for Treebeard. Okay, so Light of Valinor straight onto a restore, so we can quest without having to stress. We've got Will of the West on the top of our discard pile, so I really want to use the Weaver to shuffle that back in. So instead of playing Light of Valinor first, I'll have played a Galadriel Weaver to shuffle Will of the West in, then I'll discard to the sea to give Arwen a resource to then spend that resource for Light of Valinor. We've got the Mithlon Sea Watcher, which I would really like to put into play. The only downside is that that means we don't then have cards to heal Chief Turk. But I feel like with Treebeard, we got like a half-decent defender anyway. Oh, I say half-decent. He's an excellent defender. And Turk is a good attacker as well. So even if we don't use him for defense, right now, we've got a strong enough board presence to do this. So, and Mablung is coated in resources. So, spend 2 for the Mithlon Sea Watcher. Unfortunately, the top card of our deck is not an ally, but needs must. So, I went to have 3 new time counters for the quest. Boom, boom, boom. Right, questing. Mablung may as well keep going. Arwen, a restore can go for free. All of these guys are going to go, and my Ent is going to go as well, because we've got a lot of progress that we need to get down. Another Ravenclaw Skirmisher, either remove 1 time counter from the active location or reveal an additional encounter card. We can't remove the time counter because there aren't any, so we have to draw another card. That really sucks. Raven Country, another one of these. which, and again, the time effect is not a problem, but the threat is. So that's 7. Our core heroes are 7, so everything else is gravy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that finishes Raven Country, and 1 progress onto the main quest. We're going to go to Raven Country, because then we've got an active location with time counters on it, which means that... I did put more time counters, but I put them on there, which means I'll forget. As evidenced by the fact that I already forgot, which means that if something like the Raven Skirmishers come out again, I've got something I can remove time counters from. Obviously, we will engage the Raven Skirmisher, which gives Mablung a resource. Treebeard will defend. Deal the attacking enemy 2 additional shadow cards from the Raven deck. Ooh. Discard an attachment you control, and nothing. Right, which attachment are we going to discard? Which attachment? We've got some big Noldor characters we haven't played yet, so I kind of want to keep to the sea, especially when the other one's in the discard pile. No, Kaylee, you're not helping me with the decision by looking at me like that. I could lose the Rivendell Blade, because I've got another one in the deck, and we've got loads of resources on Mablung, so I'll lose the Blade. 2 attack does nothing, and we slaughter the Raven Skirmisher. Time counter removed, threat up by 1. Everyone comes back. I feel crazy, man, because the Rivendell Blade is so good. Right, I'm going to start... I'm going to clump those up, because they're just Gladrian Weavers, so no offence, but you're not really that important. And these Ents are probably just going to be used for questing. So let's pop that there. Right then, 4 cards. Forgot to shuffle my deck from when I played the Weaver. 3 resources. And 1 for Treebeard, which gives that 2 resources that we need in order for him to ready an Ent. So we need a lot of progress again to finish off Raven Country, which is a shame, because it is a massive location. I kind of feel like we're slow rolling at the moment, but ultimately our board isn't getting any weaker. It's just getting stronger. And these time effects aren't too bad, and we've got, with Elrond's Councils and a good lot of draw, we've got enough threat mitigation to deal with it. So we've got an Honor Guard, a Gondorian Shield, a Spear of the Citadel, and a Protector of Lorien. All good cards. Must come to those who wait. So we can't play the Honor Guard, the Spear, and the Gondorian Shield, because we don't have enough resources. Which is a shame. So I do really like an Honor Guard, because it can pull your butt out of the fire loads. He's just a really good utility character. So we're going to spend that. And then, as good as the Spear of Citadel is, there aren't any like super low health enemies that we need to we can poke to death before they do anything. I really thought the Spear of the Citadel might be something I need to lose from this deck. So I'm going to spend 1 to put a Gondorian Shield onto Mablung. Which unfortunately potentially weakens my questing. I'm going to spend 1 to put Protector of Lorien onto Arestor, which means he can discard to boost any of his stats now. I'm going to hold on to the Spear of the Citadel for a second, I think, to see if we need the healing. Because if we don't, then I'd rather use it for the resources. Right, so questing. Now, technically, Mablung is now geared out for defense, but Treebeard is a boss of a defender, and he's a boss of an attacker. So, I'm kind of reluctant to hold back Mablung, and we might not need to. So I'm going to send Mablung. I'm going to send this squad, because at the moment there's only 2 threat in there. So I'm going to hold back Treebeard. It's the rallying cry. Remove 1 time counter from every location in play, and then place X time counters on all locations that don't have one. So it's not a problem. So that's 2, which means we're 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 6 on there, 6 on there. That's all done. So we go on to the second stage of the quest. So the Raven Clan. Chief Turk's goal is to defeat the Raven Clan before they can marshal their full strength, but Dunland is a vast country, and there is much ground to cover. The longer it takes you to subdue the enemy, the more time they have to gather. When revealed, shuffle the Raven deck discard into the Raven deck. Then, starting with the first player, each player takes the top card of the Raven deck and adds it to the staging area. Time 3, forced. After the last counter is removed from this stage, reveal the top card of the Raven deck and add it to the staging area. Place 3 time counters on this stage. Each location in the staging area gets +2 quest points. Makes sense. So now we have a time effect that is a problem. Now, it's going to very much depend which enemy we get from this Raven deck. This could be an absolute formality, and we could squash him in a turn, or this could be the blinking Raven Chieftain, or whatever. I mean, not like the actual Raven, the Dunland Chieftain, who is an absolute monster. So, hey, it's the Dunland Tribesman. So I get to draw a card, which is awesome. Oh, but it's sad, because it's Galdor, who I can't play, and will go into the discard pile now. Which is a shame, but, you know, there we go. We'll travel to the Raven War Camp, obviously, because we don't need more enemies getting revealed. We will engage the Dunland Tribesman, which means Mablung gets a resource. Treebeard will defend. Deal 1 damage to the defending character. I'll use the Honor Guard to cancel that damage. And so 1 damage goes through anyway from his attack. Arrestor and Turk and the Mithlon Sea Watcher are more than enough to kill him dead. So we have 2 cards here, so we could use 1 for healing or 1 for resources, or both for healing. We'll discard 1 for healing, and we'll heal a wound from Treebeard. I know Turk is a game-losing proposition, but I'm just not going to defend with him anymore. And then I will give that resource to Arwen, because we've got Elven Light in the discard pile. Time counter, time counter. Ready, ready, ready. Gosh, I love Honor Guards. I mean, it's sort of like healing, except healing can't help you when you're dead. And then 4 cards and a bucket of resources. Okay, right then. Wingfoot is going to go on to Mablung, because when we don't have any enemies in the pile anyway, we can just name enemy and he'll ready if he needs to. We've got another Protector of Lorien, which we don't need. We've got a Steeded Ladris, which we will play. We've got a Sylvan Refugee, who we will play. They're very fragile, but why not go for it? And then I am tempted to use Arwen's resource, because we want to use Steeded Ladris. We also want some cards for some flexibility for healing, but I'm going to hold on to it and see what we need. So Mablung is going to go, and he's going to name enemy. Arwen is going to go. She's going to discard a card to put 2 progress onto the Raven War Camp. Arrestor's going, and my super squad is going. It is not an enemy. Surge, when revealed, attached to the current quest, counts as a condition attachment with the text forced after a player draws any number of cards, raises threat by 1. That's unpleasant. And it surges into this one. I can't remember if there is a limit to how many of those can go on a quest. Fierce Folk, doomed 3. Oh dear. When revealed, each player draws 3 cards. Until the end of the round, players cannot play events. I feel like I need to know if those attachments can stack. There's another one. I think they can stack. Actually, do you know what? I've got the box right next to me. So, because obviously that is the difference of a threat. So, I'm just going to pause while I check this rule. Cool, there's no suggestion that they don't stack, so they do. So, whenever a player draws any number of cards, raises threat by 1. So, because we're drawing 3 cards, we raise our threat by 2. So, that was a lot of threat. And we can't play events. Which means we will not be using Elven Light. Oh, and it means we won't be using Elrond's Council, which is a real kick in the teeth. That is our first Will of the West out, but our Dwarven Tomb is already in our discard pile. But at least we can use these for resource gaining and whatever else. So let's see what the situation's like. So there's nothing in the staging area, so everything is gravy. 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that means 2 goes onto the war camp, which means 14 go onto the Raven clan. So by discarding 1 card, I can have us finish the Raven clan, and that will mitigate all of that. So I will discard Gondorian Spearman to use Protector of Lorien to give 1 more progress, which gets rid of those horrible attachments and finishes stage 2 of the quest. So, the last stage, very appropriately named. The warriors of the Raven clan won't stop fighting as long as their leader spurs them on. You must find the Raven chief and defeat him in order to break the spirit of his men and bring an end to this conflict. When revealed, add the Raven chief and Raven chief's camp to the staging area. Take the top X cards of the Raven deck and add them to the staging area. X is the number of players minus 1. Haha, 1 minus 1 is 0. So we've seen this guy in our setup video. They go to the staging area. And the last stage, time 2, forced. After the last time counter is removed from this stage, each engaged enemy makes an attack. Place 2 time counters on this stage. At the end of the round, if the Raven Chief is in the victory display, the players win the game. So, the Raven Chief can't have attachments. While the camp is in play, he can't be damaged. When he attacks, we remove the time counter from the active location if able. Well, we're travelling to the Raven Chief's war camp, obviously, which is immune to player card effects, and after the last time counter is removed from this location, exhaust each damaged character. Ugh. We have to engage the Raven Chief, which gives a resource to Mablung. Does that mean an enemy? Yeah, he's been revealed, and it was the quest phase, so Mablung readies. Doesn't make any difference. We can't hurt the Raven Chief. We've just got to be able to take the slap as well as we can. But Mablung is the best guy equipped for that. So the Raven Chief engages. I'm going to take the hit on Mablung. Defending player discards an attachment he controls. Given that the Raven Chief's camp is immune to player card effects, I think we're going to get rid of the Steed of Inladris because we can't put progress on it anyway using it. So that means 1 wound would go on. We use the Honor Guard to cancel the wound. We can't hit him back because the Raven Chief's camp is in play, which means we have these 2 cards in hand. We can't play them as events because of that treachery earlier. We used... What did we use the Gondorian Shield? Oh, to give Protector of Lorien a boost. So we can discard 1 of them for a resource for Arwen. And we will discard the other one to do some healing. We will heal Quick Beam so that he doesn't get affected by that time effect. The Raven Chief attacked, which means he removes a time counter from there. End of the round, time counters are removed from there and there. Threat goes up by 1. Everyone readies, because we're going to need, even though we don't need any quest to actually finish the quest, we want that location gone so we can beat him to death. Right, we've got Silver Harp and Radris Caregiver, our other Will of the West, and a Light of Valinor. That is problematic because we will kind of have to play Will of the West now if we don't want to lose the discard pile, if we don't want to lose our deck. This might be a time, actually, not to use Will of the West and just hope we win the game in that amount of time. Now, for Lords of the Eldar, we'd be able to power up a Restore Arwen, the Mithlond Sea Watcher, and the Caregiver. So that's not nothing. Silver Harp. It's not really worth doing. So I'm going to discard the Light of Valinor to give Arwen a resource. I'm going to exhaust to the sea, and discard the Silver Harp to lower the cost of the Imladris Caregiver by 1. So they can come into play. I didn't give Treebeard a resource. And then let's play Lords of the Eldar from the discard pile. We put it on the bottom of our deck, and all Noldor characters get +1 will, +1 attack, and +1 defense for the whole round. Right, so questing. There is nothing in the staging area currently, but that could get a lot worse. So all of these guys are going. Do I risk sending Mablung? No. Arwen's going. Arrestor's going. Right. When driven back. When revealed, remove all progress from each location in the staging area. Increase the total threat in the staging area by 1 for each progress removed this way. If it removed no progress, gain surge. Gain surge. Raven Village. 2 threat, 3 progress, time 2 forced. After the last time counter is removed from this location, reveal the top card of the Raven deck and add it to the staging area. That's not too bad, really. So that's 2, which is Arrestor. That's 3, 4, 5. Oh, no. It's not, because we're the Lords of the Eldar. So 2 is just that Imladris Caregiver. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. We finished the Raven's Chief Camp. Great, which means we may as well go to Raven Village. Which means the Raven Chief attacks. He hits Mablung. No threat. Honor Guard, no shadow. Honor Guard exhausts to cancel the damage. He needs 14 to kill him. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can discard 1 card from hand. Oh, Treebeard spends 2 resources to ready Quick Beam. So now we have 3, 6, 10, 13, 14. We beat the Raven's Chief to death, and we win the game. Job's a good one. Okay? I mean, a quest that, like the Arrestor deck, is designed to mess up, because all those like, oh no, I hope you haven't got cards in your hand. Well, no, we don't have cards in our hand. That's kind of our deck's whole thing. And that is the conclusion to the end of the Ringmaker cycle. There is a whole load of fluff here, which I'm not going to read. The epilogue is particularly cool because it sort of shows how some stuff earlier on builds into the movies, which is a really nice idea. And there's even some neat design notes here, like on some of the decisions they made. It was a really, really good cycle, and it really gave me some hope after the Heirs of Numenor, even though it has some absurdly hard quests as well. Cool. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will probably look to do the next cycle. Is it the Angmar one? I know it starts with the Lost Realms box, which I've played through once, but I mean, I love this MAE deck so much. And those Lords of the Eldar were definitely better than Unexpected Courage, so that's definitely staying in the deck. Grand. See you another time, guys. Bye.